Welcome to the Hot Read here on the 440 Sports Network. I am Braden Gall, brought to you by ML Rose. That is James Foster, and we are joined, easy for me to say, by Drew Beatty, Iron City Film on Twitter. That is correct. James, Drew, how are we, boys? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Really, really awesome to finally get to hop on here and talk some Titans ball.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I've been following Drew on Twitter for a while now, so great to chop it up with him finally.
There you go, Drew. Of course, glad to have you on board for the season this year. You're going to be all over the place, so get used to the name, get used to the face. We do appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us here. We got some news as we got ready to record on Thursday afternoon. The Dallas Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, and so we'll discuss that coming up momentarily. We're going to look at Khalil Mullings, rookie running back out of Michigan, sort of his tape. We'll look at his pass pro. We'll take a look at what he did in this preseason action. Then we'll dive into Cam Ward's few throws in his final preseason game. Maybe get y'all's thoughts on if he's made any progress, anything at all changed with his resume going into week one. And then we'll talk offensive line to wrap up today before we send you off on your Labor Day weekend. Hope everybody out there enjoys 5 straight nights of college football. It's fantastic. I hope you had a good time. So we'll get into all of that. ML Rose, of course, is our main sponsor here on the show. Local business, 7 great locations all across Middle Tennessee. And I want to point out what they are doing on Saturday. So this is going to screw up everything, of course, that I'm doing here visually if you're watching on YouTube. But Saturday Wing Wars at ML Rose, 7 great location. When you sign up, when you go to ML Rose, of course, order chicken wings on a Saturday, and then the server's going to ask you, like, hey, who's your favorite SEC team? And you just got to say the name, and they're going to keep track of it. And if anybody knows what Rocco's is, Rocco's Jello Shot contest out in at the College World Series, this is going to be SEC Wing Wars in Nashville. So we're going to keep track of it. You get a special. You basically get 8 wings for free if you do this, if you want to buy 24 wings. So go check out Saturday Wing Wars at ML Rose, all 7 locations across Middle Tennessee. We do appreciate them being a main sponsor here on a lot of 440 shows, and we do appreciate them. So ML Rose. All right, we're going to talk Cam Ward. We're going to talk offensive line. And, of course, we're going to talk Khalil Mullings. However, we got to get started with Micah Parsons. He gets traded to the Green Bay Packers. If we get compensation update as we are discussing this, we'll give you that information. I assume it was a lot. But the new contract, 4 years, $188 million. So first of all, James, I'll start with you. In general, your reaction to the deal, smart for the Packers, smart for the Cowboys. Where do you fall on the deal itself without knowing all the details right now?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of the sting off of being a Titans fan, having traded away A.J. Brown, because we now no longer hold the record for the worst trade of all time, or at least recent memory. I think that the number one thing that stands out to me is that it's a great move for the Packers, because I felt like they were one of the teams that was extremely solid across the board, but had a lack of star players heading into the year. And you get Micah Parsons. He's probably the most impactful star player on the defensive side of the ball. And so I think a great move for the Packers. And for the Cowboys, I genuinely expected them to come to an agreement with Parsons. And I thought it was going to be something where Jerry was just kind of playing it up for the media effect. But apparently they were serious about moving on from him.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of in line with James a lot on this. I think the compensation would have to be like truly astounding for me to disagree with this trade at all. I think when you have a player at one of the most prominent positions in edge, that I think when you're building a team, certainly to get over the hump, like Green Bay's
trade
trying.
Package includes 2 first-round picks and a frontline player.
Okay. 2 firsts was kind of what I expected it to be centered around. And even then, I still like that for the Packers. I don't think that's too much for when you get a cornerstone edge player like Micah Parsons and the impact that he has, still being relatively young in his prime, has years in the future.
Probably like Devontae Wyatt. I would guess like Devontae Wyatt, because the Cowboys need, interior D-line most of all. But it could be Lucas Van Ness also.
Former first-round pick out of Iowa. He was penciled in to be their starting defensive end this year. Devontae Wyatt, also a first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers, had not really lived up to the expectations. If I'm a Packers fan, which I am, I would be totally happy with giving up Wyatt. I don't love the idea of Ness and 2 firsts. That's 3 first-round picks, essentially, for Micah Parsons. But it sounds like you two are making me feel a whole lot better about this. The Packers,
well,
the Packers are a couple players away from going at it here. Are they good enough to win a Super Bowl? I don't know. Are they closer now? They obviously are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Parsons is exactly what they needed to kind of push the unit as a whole over the top, and that's interesting that you're more you would be more hesitant to part ways with Van Ness, because I kind of view it the opposite way. Like I view Wyatt as kind of definitely hasn't lived up to his draft stock, but I think he's a pretty solid player.
Well, positionally, Drew, that's certainly the case. Like Van Ness is going to be a little redundant if you've got Parsons and Rashawn Gary on the other side. But they do need some high level players. By the way, Packers at Cowboys Sunday Night Football Week 4. Just want to point that out. And as someone who grew up despising the Cowboys with every fiber of my being, living in Texas, rooting for the Packers in the mid 90s, I hope this, James, is as what you say it is, which is a Herschel Walker 2.0 trade, which is is probably actually the worst trade in the history of the NFL. And if this is anywhere close to that, let's go. Let's go. All right. So you guys want to talk special thanks to ML Rose. Make sure you go eat some wings on Saturdays at ML Rose. Go do that. All right. Let's talk Khalil Mullings here. Now, I was at practice. The last time we're ever going to see the Titans do anything on a football field that's not in a game was on Thursday. Pretty light practice. Was a little jarring to see with 40-plus guys gone after seeing 90-plus out there all the time. Khalil Mullings was not in pads at all, did not work. Neither did Latham. Snead was out there. But in the running back room, we did see Tajay Spears kind of walking around. Can't really report on that, but he was there. Seemed to be in good spirits, so that is good news. They kept Mims and Jefferson on the practice squad. So before we look at this tape, and I'll pull it up here, James, and you can kind of control it, I'm just curious what you guys make of the running back room. Pollard seems to be a pretty clear number one. Aging, you got Spears, maybe he's back healthy. Mullings as the rookie, Chestnut, Mims, and Jefferson. What do you guys feel about the room in general right now?
You can go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, I think with me, the running back room is kind of, now that we've seen them address the defensive back depth, which was far and away my biggest concern, I think now my shift, not that my biggest concern is running back, but I've shifted more to look at that because I think this running back room is getting dangerously thin. And the lack of a waiver claim was really surprising to me. I thought that was kind of going to be set in stone to see them claim one of those guys out there. And I have been really impressed with Kalel Mullings throughout the preseason, which I know we're about to get into his tape soon. But again, like he's still really, really raw and developmental. I don't think he's a guy you can rely on yet. Tajay obviously has not shown the ability to be consistently healthy, starting the year off on IR again this year. And Pollard, like we all know, I think he's a middle of the road back. Like I'd consider him a top 16 guy, fringe, maybe top 12. But I think you're probably lucky to get maybe one more productive year out of him, maybe two. And below him, with Chestnut still there, and then Mims and Jefferson on the practice squad, like you said, like you're a Pollard injury away from nobody at running back because Kalel Mullings is not a guy anywhere near ready to take on a starting load, and you have nobody to split carries with him beyond Chestnut, who's a borderline practice squad guy, and two guys who are for all intents and purposes just bodies in the practice squad. So I think this could be a spot that becomes a really, really dangerous group for this team. And a spot that you kind of need to take some pressure off of Cam Ward as a rookie. And it's something that I think is flying under the radar and could be an issue for this team.
All right, James. Take it away, big guy.
So I got some Kalel Mullings clips from across the 3 preseason games. Starting off, I've got his 4 pass blocking reps. I thought there were 3 really good plays here, 1 bad one. This first one against Minnesota, just got an all-out pressure and stands up against the blitz. Pretty solid rep there. This ends up being Van Jefferson's touchdown. This is the most impressed I've ever been with Van Jefferson. This one I really like. Good physicality to finish the block here after he squares him up. And then this is from back in the Tampa Bay game. He lunges into this, gives up a sack. So good to see the improvement. But yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, we got one more. So it's weird. It's a good play from Mullings' perspective, even though his guy ended up
intercepting the pass.
Getting the interception. Yeah.
Well, pass pro is exclusively about effort. I mean, really.
Yeah. So then moving on to the runs, this is a pin pull, looks like. Yep. So you're going to have the center and left guard pulling here, and then you get the pin down blocks from the outside. Good job by Mullings breaking the arm tackle. You see pretty good speed in the open field. He's able to, again, break another tackle and in the play on his feet. So that's a really nice play. That's kind of what do you see kind of Drew as far as Mullings and Pollard and kind of contrasting what their usage would be like in Tennessee's offense? How do you see them being used differently?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Pollard's kind of your all around, just kind of, bell cow that gets thrown around a lot, but I think he's really just kind of a jack of all trades back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen Mullings get kind of typecasted as just this only short yardage back, which I think is, primarily his usage. But I've been really impressed on his college tape and in the little preseason tape we have of him. I think, and for a guy that's only been playing the position for 2 years, really, and only 1 year's worth of actual snaps in Michigan, his vision and patience are really, really impressive for a young and raw developmental back like he is. He's just got a natural feel as a runner.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good feel in space for where guys are coming from. So I think he really could grow into a larger role than that. And I'm glad we brought up the pass protection too, because that was something I wanted to touch on. Not to draw away from the usage conversation, like you said. But I think he's a guy you can throw in on third downs now if he continues to look like he did in the preseason. Because I was really concerned with the Michigan pass protection tape. I thought it was rough in college.
Mm-hmm.
But I was impressed with the limited reps we did get. And it's clear that's something you can teach too. Like that's something you see guys grow at a lot in the NFL transition. So I think he's a guy that could take on more of a role than people are giving him credit for. But again, early on, you're probably just going to see him in the short yardage role that everybody's projecting him to.
So I agree with you generally about the vision, but I did include one play. I don't want to be like I'm setting you up here, but I did include one play that where I thought his vision could have been better. Like right here, I want him to
cut back.
See that the nose tackle is shading into this front side gap, hit the cutback lane.
But keep it tight though, right? Like right off the ass of the center and just real north south.
Press it and then yeah. So that is one. But then there's some other examples of him doing a really good job on wide zone. This is, I guess, my kind of question with Mullings is this sort of situation right here. Does he have the juice to make a DB miss in the hole like this? Isn't
that a spin move right there? What you need is you need a spin and just get the 3 yards you can get.
Well, he had a touchdown against Minnesota in college. It was kind of similar to this, where he was able to make the DB miss, just with a little juke. But yeah,
I don't see who's
that's a really good tackle.
I was going to say, I assume who's tackling him is a practice squad player who might have been cut, but I can't tell if that's a good player or not.
And then let's see, we got. Yeah, here's kind of the front side. Nothing too special from his perspective, but it's the correct read.
North-south physicality. Yeah. He's a very, very smart player, just for what it's worth.
I think this was just a 4-yard run, but I do really like him. There's somebody said to me a while ago, like the difference between college and the NFL is in college, you'll have a perfectly blocked and executed run that'll go for a 50-yard touchdown. In the NFL, it goes for a 4-yard gain. But this is a great job by Mullings of identifying 53, the linebacker, really shooting this gap. And then he's able to adjust course, let his offensive lineman kind of clean up the picture for him. And then he avoids that second tackler, lets the tight end help him out, and then picks up an extra yard. Well, not really an extra yard through contact, but solid run there. This is a little draw play, nothing crazy. And then the final play I included, pretty solid lateral quickness here.
Not to interrupt our running back film here, Kenny Clark is the player.
Okay.
That will be included in the deal. Really, really good defensive tackle for the Packers, but aging, first-round pick, been around a long time. And so Kenny Clark will be included with 2 first-round picks in that deal for Micah Parsons. Just kind of wrapping up that conversation. Is Mullings a starting running back in the future, or is he simply a backup who's going to have a nice career, kind of spot duty when somebody gets hurt. What's your upside for him?
I think we'll probably be better than who's the Michigan guy that they drafted a couple years ago?
Hassan Haskins.
Yeah, I think he'll be better than Hassan Haskins. I think that he at least has a use. I think that there's also the difference with Mullings is that there's some upside with him because it's kind of like Femi, where sort of the selling point with him is that in the near future it can look a lot better. He'll be a lot more decisive and confident than he might be right now. So I think there is some untapped potential there for sure. I don't really think he's a quality starter right now necessarily, but that definitely has that upside for sure. And he can be a rotational kind of backup piece for the short term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're probably never going to see him be like a 1A guy to me, but I think he could end up being a quality 1B in a rotation, whether that's, in Tennessee or wherever it is, just as kind of that thunder in a backfield where you're that powerful 1B. Especially a lot of that hinges on the pass protection to me, because he's got to be able to live on third down some. But yeah, like the vision and how much he's shown in the early stages of his career. And there's a clear theme of untapped potential in this draft class, which we've talked about, I'm sure ad nauseum you guys have on here, between DK and Femi and Mullings, and where you got a guy that was playing linebacker 3 years ago. To see him have that kind of natural feel, like I mentioned earlier, as he does as a runner, and the lateral quickness that James touched on right at the end of that film is also really impressive for his size. I think he's got the skill set to be a quality 1B and have a long career in the NFL. I think it's just a matter of, can you reach that ceiling?
Super smart guy. The times I've talked to him, and almost all of his coaches in college rave about the work ethic, the leadership, and when if you have not seen it, I said it a lot after they drafted him. Go watch his answer on national television immediately following the Ohio State-Michigan game. His answer was a masterclass in PR messaging strategy. After that,
is he the guy who said that they need to learn how to lose?
Yes.
That is so
if you don't,
that is legendary.
If you don't know, of course, Ohio State and Michigan, they don't like each other. For those that don't know anything about college football, they hate each other. They play a game. Michigan pulls a huge upset on them. And there's some fighting after the game, and there's like I think there was like, they were spraying something. I can't remember what they were spraying. The police had to use like mace or whatever to break it up or something. So people are doing all kinds of crazy shit. And so they finally get the post-game interview with Khalil Mullings. And in that moment, a college student, and every rookie that's ever come to the Titans, I've talked to the PR staff at the Titans about this. Very few of them are good enough to handle this moment like this. He's basically asked, and he gives a perfect answer where he's like, yeah, it's a great win. It's a great rivalry. And, you hate to see that for the game. It's a bad it's a bad look for the sport of college football on both sides. Like, totally politically correct answer. And then he goes, yeah, but some people just need to learn how to lose. It's so good. So he like drives the knife in, but also plays it safe. Right. And so that's like a really, really smart answer. I just appreciate that about a young player that can do that. So he can think on his feet. And as you mentioned, playing linebacker, I imagine he will be good on special teams, whether it's coverage on punt or kick. If you are a linebacker who can play that position, hopefully that translates to special teams. So, all right, let's take a look at Cam Ward. Didn't play a lot, led another, I think his final line was like 10 of 19, I want to say. Led another touchdown drive, played 2 series because the first one wasn't great. But here was, let's take a look at Cam Ward and sort of what he had in his last run in the preseason.
So this is definitely going to be the least eventful Cam Ward breakdown because there's really only 2 reps that I thought were gradable or really noteworthy. This first one, to me, is probably his second best throw of the preseason. Really good timing here on this whole shot, releasing the ball as he's getting out of his break. Good placement.
That's still not even great footwork.
Yeah, no,
he doesn't land on his front foot. Yeah, his front foot.
The mechanics were. Yeah, and honestly, the mechanics I thought were something. I said right before we started this that I think there's a lot of it's just the same as what we saw at Miami, but the lower body mechanics were something I thought was at least slightly improved in the preseason compared to what I saw in Miami. I think he's a lot more, at least in line. Like you see him operate, with his lower body more in tune with his upper body while he's processing.
That front foot hopping like that is absolutely the worst thing that you can do. because
he
you want to
fix that. Yeah,
you got to plant, and you don't want your knee to bend at all. You want it to be rigid. It's like a baseball swing, right, where you plant off your front foot and you're using force to drive the ball with the bat opposite of the direction of the pitch, right? And that's what you want, is you want that front leg to be stationary and locked in place so that you're pushing off of it and using that, all that energy is going up through your body into your arm. And as soon as you lift off the ground, you lose some of that energy.
This one is pretty routine. Second down completion into zone coverage. Good to see. Drew, what are your thoughts about Cam Ward overall? Me and Braden have been talking about him for the last 3 weeks, but I'm interested to get your takeaway just on his, whether it's about the Vikings or just preseason as a whole. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to throw it into kind of an elevator pitch because I could spend, a lot longer than we have doing it. But I think, the main thing you see continue to be on display that I think is probably just his best trait is how always on time he is, which you hear him talk about it. You hear the receivers talk about it in press conferences. And it's something you can really appreciate after the quarterback play we've seen in Tennessee recently, where he's just like, outbreakers, stop routes. Like it's never late. And he's never waiting for things to be open to throw them. The anticipation is really impressive. I'm still, he still needs to prove to me he can be consistently accurate. That's my biggest concern with him. I think, the lower body mechanics, like we were talking about, go into that. That feeds into that issue. It's that and the decision-making, which are the two biggest hang-ups right now. But again, I'm really impressed with him as a mental processor. That's been one of my favorites from him all throughout the draft process. And I think you continue to saw that at least in limited reps in the preseason. So again, I think he's going to be good. I think the getting over the hump between good and franchise quarterback material is just the accuracy and the decision making, like we mentioned. So it's just I gotta, he's got to prove to me that he can fix those two.
And you're right about the footwork thing, both you guys. Like that was something that we knew he was going to need to fix. We've talked about it ad nauseum, and I want to be clear on what I'm saying. That's a thing. It's not a concern about the player. It's something you want to iron out, that little toe tap. But what it also does is it makes the throw that much more impressive, that you can put that much zip and that much power on a throw without having the proper base is also just crazy. So, all right, well, there you go. Cam Ward could be good, question mark, for the Titans. You know what else is good? Wings at ML Rose. Make sure you swing by one of those 7 great locations all across Middle Tennessee. And when you buy wings on a Saturday, you get 8 for free. You get extra wings for free, which is always good. And, of course, make sure you tell people what your favorite SEC team is. We're going to keep track of that all season long, every fall, every Saturday, all 7 locations at ML Rose. By the way, 2-for-1 beer specials on Saturdays as well. They got a brunch menu also, so just a great place to watch Titans games on Sundays. So make sure you swing by ML Rose over the weekend for all your football watching needs. So here's what I was going to ask you guys. I just wanted to briefly touch on the offensive line because it does feel like this team, and seeing them on practice on Thursday, it does feel like this team is healthier than I can remember in recent years at this stage of camp with a week to go before the season. L'Jarius Sneed was out there, looked pretty good. Ridley practiced. Latham was not practicing at all, but Kevin Winston was out there practicing. So they felt like it was a healthier unit than I've seen in a while. And the offensive line is one of those. Lloyd Cushenberry's out there, so much so that, Corey Levin was a practice squatter. And so I'm just curious, are you guys buying, whether you've seen it in the preseason, whether you see it, Dan Moore previous stops at Pittsburgh, I want to know if anyone's buying that the line, they've invested $150 million in 2 top 15 picks on fixing the freaking line. Is it actually been fixed is my question for you guys.
I definitely buy it. Number one, because of how low the original floor was. Like, fixing it requires not having one of the worst starting tackle duos in modern NFL history. So I think that J.C. Latham and Dan Moore as a duo will probably be below average by NFL standards. I think Latham will probably be average to above average, and Dan Moore's probably average to below average. So somewhere in that kind of range. And then I think the interior should be very good. My one concern remains just Lloyd Cushenberry's health. But outside of that, I think they should be a very, very solid group that allows you to get a good look at Cam Ward.
Yeah, and I think James hit the nail on the head. I don't want to just completely reiterate what he said, but I think for me, fixed, maybe not buying that, but it's certainly going to be improved. It's hard not to be. The tackle duo is something I have a lot of questions about. I think I'm not quite as high on Latham as I think James is. And I think that Dan Moore, I've still got some major questions there. Like, again, he's going to be an upgrade. I just don't know if he's going to be, truly good. So the tackle duo, I have a lot of concerns about. But again, assuming Lloyd can stay healthy, that interior line has potential to be a top 3 to 5 unit in the league. I think, no doubt. The guard duo is I would feel comfortable saying one of, if not the best. And then, a healthy Lloyd Cushenberry is an above average starter. So I really love the interior. I just have major questions about the outside guys.
Here's my thought leaving all of the practices, because we can never watch them anymore from now on. We just get to watch them stretch. They are going to throw the ball quickly a lot, especially against Denver. The ball is coming out fast. They're gonna be some dump offs and some bubble screens. They've been working on that quick throw to the sideline to the receiver a lot in practice. I imagine that they are going to get the ball out of Cam's hands fast a lot early and then build on it from there to get his feet wet and hopefully let the offensive line kind of settle in a little bit. So less pressure on guys if you only got to block for a half a second versus 3. So, all right, well, here's the deal. We'll be back next week, and I want to get you guys to sort of officially lay down your time capsule predictions around the Titans, and we'll see what actually happens. How about you guys both tell everybody where they can find all your work, where they can follow you guys on the socials, YouTube page for you, James and Drew. Just tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. For me, you can find me. Sorry, James. Do you want to go ahead?
Go ahead.
I probably have a shorter list than you do, so that's probably good. You can find me at right here at Iron City Film on Twitter/X. All my work will be posted there. I am kind of in between Titans outlets right now. I have something to be announced soon, hopefully within the next couple days, very, very soon. I don't know exact timeline there. But yeah, you can my Titan stuff kind of in between, but you'll find that very, very soon. But all of my stuff is at Iron City Film on Twitter/X.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at NoFlagsFilm and on YouTube at James Foster.
And if all the listeners, viewers, I should say, on YouTube, thumbs up, notifications turned on, all that good stuff. If you'd like to see what hair looks like on like generation to generation to generation, this is exactly what it looks like. From right to left on your TV screen, it goes from Drew to James to me, and this is what hair looks like on a man. As you age, this is what happens. You go from one age to the next age to the next age, and you end up looking like me. Sorry, boys, this is how it looks at the end. So I hate to break it to you. Thank you guys for hanging out. Of course, thanks all you guys for listening. ML Rose for all your beer, burger, and wing needs this fall. They're a great place to go hang out. Great place to watch sports. They got EPL soccer. They got Nashville SC. They got SEC football. They got Titans games on Sundays. All kinds of great stuff. So Preds games as well whenever that starts. So that's not too far off either. So enjoy all that great stuff. We do appreciate them for supporting the show. Drew, thank you, my guy. James, thank you as well. My name is Braden Gall. Thank you all for listening and hanging out. Have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. Enjoy some college football and get ready for the NFL. Starts next week. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.